Welcome to Between State Lines.
Welcome back to Between State Lines, Cursed Haunted Objects, Part 2. In the last episode, Steff was mocking Australians and mocking a doll, and she said that she would switch places with the Letta doll and become one with the doll for a cool 100K. And I was like, no way, that's ridiculous.
I'm like, even just saying all of that, like I'm putting my feet up, like I'm not asking for all that bad juju. I think I got cursed crystals or something, and I kind of mocked the devil earlier, so I'm in trouble already.
The devil took out your internet, so
yeah. There's the big spider again. At least he's going back to his home.
Is it just me, or on an unrelated note, our cemetery is really creepy at night? Not during the day, at night.
Yeah, I think they're kind of creepy during the day. Like, isn't it weird to be going over somebody's plot of land? Like, I don't want to step on it. And sometimes they have, like, it just feels like nobody really cares about them. Or that maybe they did at one point, but they kind of forgot about them. I don't know. Cemeteries are kind of scary. Even during the day. But have you looked at ones that close up at night? Like they have gates.
Wait, that lock?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's creepy.
I heard of one story that this person thought that they found a lost dog at a cemetery. And the dog was running, and so they went to like the back of this huge cemetery, and wherever it was, I can't remember, but they like ran into a police officer, and the police officer was like, this place, the doors close at 5 p.m. You make sure that you're out of here by 5 p.m. because the gates will close and lock. Like they were on a timing system. And she was like getting pretty close to 5 p.m. and at that point had another glimpse of this dog running, and she's like, nope, out of here. And sure enough, as she's pulling out, the gates were closing. Can you imagine being locked into a cemetery?
I wouldn't do it alone, but
not I. Even talking
there's a cemetery right near our house. It's like humongous. I don't know how many acres, but it's a huge cemetery. And I always, like, when I feel like I want to be creeped out, I'll drive past it. And it has, like, 3 or 4 gates, but they don't close. They close at, like, 6 o'clock, but they never actually shut and lock. So sometimes I'll just, like, pull in and, like, drive through the cemetery. And it's creepy because, like, obviously people like decorate headstones, like lights and like decorations, but all you see like from, half mile away is like these lights just like glimmering and shining off in the distance. That's all you see in a sea of dark. And you're like, creepy.
Yeah. Is that really somebody out there, or what are those lights? Because who's decorating headstones in the middle of the night? I know I've done that during the day where like I've gone and picked up flower vases and like put them back upright if they were knocked over or whatnot, and taken flowers and put them out on random graves. But I always wonder too, like, I hope the people that I'm visiting are actually good people.
You never know.
I know. That's the scary thing, is like, what if you're visiting one that you're like, oh, you feel so bad for them, and then it turns out that they like murdered their loved ones or something like that. And then I feel like I heard a story about that recently, actually, that they and it might have been my best friend that told me it, where she said, I'm just gonna say it like that because I'm pretty sure it was her, but there was a guy that was putting flowers at a grave, and it was for this person, and there's a woman that came up and was like, what are you doing here? and he just felt bad because this grave didn't get like any attention or anything. And it turns out that was a guy who had like murdered his wife and child. And but then that guy being at the gravesite and like no longer took anything there, but meeting that woman, apparently they got married. Something like that. It was a fun story, but
yeah. Can you imagine like you're cleaning these headstones off? It's like a Zodiac killer.
Yeah.
There's a guy on TikTok, actually several people on TikTok, who they have like these things called spirit boxes. I don't know if you're familiar with that at all, like where they can like hear the voices. And these people go to the cemeteries and they'll like, point them at like these graves and like hear voices of these people saying like, garbled words, like broken up English. And I don't know, it just seems like so like disrespectful to people. Like if I saw like someone doing that at my grandmother's grave, and I'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah. So I've heard of like the apps that you could download to do that kind of stuff, but it felt like it was like AI before AI. Like, whoops, try to knock you over. It felt like AI before AI. Like you are opening this app and it's just saying random words, or it's overhearing you and building something off of that. So I don't know how much I buy into it, but it also freaked me out enough that I didn't use it for very long.
One of these episodes, we're going to do like a Ouija board and like...
You can.
We'll do it on...
I don't know. I found comfort in when I was in like middle school. The smartest person that I knew at my middle school down in San Diego, like all of her parents were teachers, and she said that it just goes off the static electricity in your fingers. And I found a lot of comfort in that. Okay, it's static electricity or like energy, but I wouldn't want to invite any of that into my life. Like everybody that I've known that has messed around with the Ouija board, it has not gone well.
We'll do a screen share, so technically you'll be involved in I'll do like a digital Ouija board.
Okay, don't mess around too much though. You have to make sure that you end it at the end, because that's my biggest fear, is even being in proximity of somebody who's doing the Ouija board. That they're not going to end it, and that it's going to be invited into my life, and that's just what they've been waiting for. And then the real fun begins.
Like, oh, we've been targeting this Stephanie for so many years, and she's gotten away, and then there we go.
Yeah, we've helped ourselves into her room. We've done the pointing and made her look at the window, and then she wouldn't do it though. What's with this girl? She's not falling for any of our schemes. And then here Holden comes with the Ouija board.
Okay, so the next haunted object, cursed object, and this one is a pretty cool one. It's called the Conjured Chest. And the Conjured Chest's first story, this first referenced in a letter from Virginia Carrie Hudson Cleveland, very long name, to her daughter Virginia Carrie Hudson Maine. Cleveland's grandmother Eliza told her the story as a child about Jeremiah Graham was making preparations for his firstborn child, and requested that a chest would be handmade by an enslaved man on his property named Remus. When Remus made the chest, Jeremiah was not satisfied, and he beat Remus to death, essentially. And in order to avenge the death of Remus, the other enslaved African Americans sprinkled dried owl blood inside the drawers and put a curse on it. The chest was moved to the child's nursery, and tragedy occurred every time someone put clothing in the chest. 16 people in this family in particular are believed to have had the misfortune due to the curse, and 16 people died in some way or another. And that includes those 16 of the family, and then one slave, and then one person who later on broke the curse died. So 18 total, but 16 in the family. So this is a wild ride. So here are the 16 deaths associated with the chest. Jeremiah Graham's child, for whom the chest was made, died in infancy. Jeremiah's twin brother Jonathan had a son. The son's clothes were placed in the chest, and he was stabbed by his body servant on his 21st birthday. Jeremiah and Jonathan's sister-in-law, Amanda Winchell, wife of Moses Graham, put the chest in the attic at that point. John Ryan, a recent immigrant from Ireland who eloped with Catherine Winchell, so another person in the family, Amanda Winchell Graham arranged for them to come live on the land belonging to the Grahams and gave them the chest, which they both used. Farm life then got pretty shitty and pretty bad, and Catherine got ill. John then planned to go to New Orleans to find work, and he was killed in an accident. His wife, Catherine, died pretty soon afterwards. Louise Gregory, a child of Eliza Ryan and John David Gregory, died around 10 years old. Her clothes were also in the chest. Eliza and John David Gregory's only son, Ernest Gregory, married Stella Stonecipher, and Stella put her wedding clothes in the chest, and they wed in 1895, and she died 2 years after. Mabel Louise Whitehead, a relative to the Gregory family, lived with Eliza and John in 1884. She married Wilbur in 1897, and in 1901, Mabel and Wilbur had a baby named Chester, whose clothes went into the chest. Chester, that's pretty funny. Chester died at 2 weeks old. That's not funny, but Chester died at 2 weeks old. Not laughing to Chester. Sorry, Chester. Wilbur Harlan's clothes were then placed in the chest, and Wilbur died in 1905. John David Gregory's nephew, Emmett, who was the son of John David. This is such a long, convoluted family. Lucy is in there. So Lucy is the sister of John David. She put knitted gloves and a scarf in there for her son's Christmas gift. And Emmett, who was the son, worked on the railroad, and one evening in 1909, he fell off the train and fell 30 feet through a trestle and died. Nellie Gregory, daughter of Eliza and John David Gregory, when she got married to Fred Franz in 1905, she placed her wedding clothes in the chest, and then Fred deserted Nellie, so peaced out. When Eliza Gregory's husband, John David, died in 1908, Eliza arranged her house and moved the chest into her room, and Eliza soon took her own life and died in 1915. The chest then moved to Louisville, Kentucky, with Eliza and John David Gregory's granddaughter, so we're getting near the end here, Virginia Carey Hudson Cleveland, and her husband, Curtly Cleveland. Virginia put her first baby's clothes in the chest, and the baby was born prematurely and died the same day in 1915. Virginia and Curtly's, they had 2 daughters after that, the second being Anne Carey Cleveland. Anne's clothes were placed in the chest, and she got polio around 1929, and although she recovered, she had lifelong symptoms and issues with polio. See, she was the only one that did not die from this whole curse. Everyone else died. Virginia and Curtly's older daughter was Virginia Hudson Cleveland, whose wedding clothes had been placed in the chest. Wilbur then married Virginia Hudson Cleveland in 1943. In December 1944, he was rushed to the hospital for an appendectomy, and he died a few days later from an overdose of ether. Virginia and Kirtley's neighbor, Herbert Sonny Moore Jr., put his hunting clothes in the chest, and he was killed in a gun accident at the home of the neighbors in 1946. Richard, Virginia and Kirtley's son, put his clothes in the chest. Less than a week later, he was stabbed through the hand at school and died.
He died from being stabbed through the hand?
Stabbed through the hand and died. I think he had like an infection and bit the dust. So those are all the deaths. So at this point, it's in the hands of Virginia, which is the great-granddaughter of the original D-bag who commissioned the chest and murdered the slave. And so she had enough of the chest and didn't want anyone else to die. So she asked Sally, a maid who worked for her for most of her life, if she knew how to break a conjure. Virginia and Sally completed the steps necessary to break the curse. And this is kind of like the convoluted breaking of the curse. Sally told Virginia she had to bring a dead owl brought unasked by a friend. Then she had to take the leaves of a willow tree planted by a friend and boil them for 1 day in the sight of the owl. And then next she was to put the liquid in a jug and bury it with the handle facing east under a flowering bush. If it worked, either Virginia or Sally would die before all the leaves fell off the bush in the fall. And Sally died the following September. So poor Sally helped her get rid of this curse and ended up being the last victim of the curse. And then Virginia donated the conjured chest to the Kentucky Historical Society in 1976, where it currently resides. And to this day, some of the owl feathers remain in the top drawer to keep the curse at bay.
Why do they have to keep sacrificing owls? Like, that brought on the curse, it took away the curse, and now they just have to keep all the owl feathers just in case? Poor owls.
See, I'm like, poor owls, but also like, poor Sally.
Yeah, poor Sally.
Helping out.
But also, how did she know to do all these very specific things? I'm just watching this spider just dancing around the floor over here. He really likes these stories. But, I mean, I think that he's just protecting me. I lost him, though. And it just straight disappeared, but okay. No, I don't understand. How did she know? It's very specific. Like putting the jug with the handle pointed a certain way, and I am so ADHD, I would not be able to follow all these directions.
But also, like, how do you get a dead owl brought to you unasked by a friend? Like, is that like a thing that people do in Kentucky? Like, just bring you dead owls?
I guess, yeah, or owls that I don't understand. That doesn't compute to me. Are they like overrun by owls out there? And yeah, how do you get a friend to bring you one without asking?
Maybe you tell them, be like, "Hey, bring me an owl." Like, it's not a question. Like, you will bring me a dead owl. Like,
that's not asking. It's demanding.
It's the loophole. Like, now I know if someone tells me to bring them a dead owl, I'm like, oh, well, there's like a curse on something that they own.
Yeah, I mean, who's the person that she asked? Oh, there he is. Was it Sally? Because she's her maid? And if so, like, man, you do not, you and your family, and the lack of respect for the people who are serving you in some capacity, like, and then poor Sally, she helped break it, but at what cost? And I bet nobody gave her $500,000.
See, I think Sally, this is my prediction, I think Sally really did not like Virginia, and she said, you know what, I'm not going to help you break this curse. You can go fuck yourself. I'm going to tell you to do all this like ridiculous crap. So you think it's broken, and she was hoping that like Virginia would put her clothes in the chest and die, but somehow Virginia got lucky and it's still cursed, but she doesn't own it anymore.
Yeah, what happened to Virginia?
I think she's probably dead by now, but she was putting around somewhere in Kentucky.
Interesting. She had a mouthful of a name. It's like they just picked a bunch of places. Virginia, Cleveland.
She died in 1989, so she bit the dust a while ago. But yeah, holy crap! Like Virginia Carey Hudson, Maine, and her mother, Virginia Carey Hudson, Cleveland.
Yeah, Cleveland, Maine, Virginia. They just picked a bunch of different places. Yeah. I don't know. I guess some of it's their last name, but they were like, I'm only marrying into a family whose last name is also a city or a state.
Well, of course, Jeremiah, the a-hole that started this whole thing, it was just Jeremiah Graham, like with a D-bag.
Yeah. Yeah, I like how he just picks out one person and it's like, you will build me this. Not happy with this. Like
the
that
guy is probably
like,
don't know how to build a chest.
Yeah, I'm just doing my best here, man. And then to know that you take the owl's blood to curse it, very interesting. I don't know. Owls are so mysterious. They can be so cute and so spooky all at the same time.
Well, that's why I don't buy creepy old chests, because they're cursed.
I have like very little furniture from my family, but right now I have a hutch and I'm supposed to get rid of it like this next week. My uncle's making me get rid of it, and I have a small chest that's from my great grandma, but I've put clothes in it and nothing's happened. Today I put lunch boxes in it because man, we have a plethora of those. Didn't know what to do with all of them.
So you got to go to your uncle and say, look, we are a 2-hutch household, or a 3. I don't know how many hutches you have in the house. We are
this
3 hutch. The one?
Yeah, it's the one hutch, but he likes to get rid of anything that anybody else could have sentimental value around. And I used to play with my Beanie Babies on it, so like that was my sentimental value. So I really don't have much of an argument here, except for that it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. It's a really nice sturdy wood. I thought it'd be awesome if I sanded it down because it's a soft wood, and I used to carve stuff into because we had a whole furniture set from the looks of this. And I guess now I have the hutch that's left of that from my grandfather, and then a coat rack. So once the hutch is gone, I will have the coat rack and then the small little chest that was my great grandmother's, but that's the other side of the family and it's a totally different set. But I used to have a coffee table and like a china cabinet from that too, and over the years I've had to get rid of everything. The hutch it's next on the list. I don't think there's any way I can save it, but it's okay. It doesn't really fit our lifestyle anymore. I tried putting it up for free. I've tried listing it on Facebook Marketplace. Like, please, somebody rescue this before it goes to the dump. It is a fantastic piece of furniture, and it was such a great Beanie Baby castle.
You know, I still have all of my Beanie Babies when I was a kid.
No way.
Because, yeah, I thought they'd be worth money one day. So I have, like, in my office, a whole box full of Beanie Babies.
Man, I had them for so long, but I guarantee my uncle got rid of those, like, at least 10 years ago. He's had so much fun getting rid of my stuff over the years. For my 25th birthday, he got rid of, like, my little playhouse that I had. And I still make fun of him for it because like 5 years later, my kids showed up and I was like, see, I told you I was going to have kids someday. He's still like, it took you 5 years. Like, we held on to it for 20 years. What do you want from me? But yeah, he made me get rid of I'm pretty positive the Beanie Babies are gone. And then he would throw away old boxes with pictures in it if he could. So I have to go through everything. Like, this man does not give it any shits.
The ultimate purger. He should go beyond hoarders and help people hoard or get rid of their crap in their house.
I mean, he's so good at it. He loves to give things away to other people. Like, I had a sous vide when I moved in, and he's like, oh, I have a sous vide. Mine's cooler. And I, like, found somebody to take mine, and I was so excited. And I was like, hey, where'd you put that? And he's like, oh, I gave it away yesterday. Like, oh. Well, I'll just let them know that. Can't with that guy. But he has no sentimental value, so there's no way that I could, like, get him back with anything. He doesn't care at all. Not about a single thing.
Okay, so we will finish the pod with this last cursed painting, actually. It's called the Crying Boy painting. So painter Giovanni Bragolin, or Bragolin, was the creator of a group of paintings called the Crying Boys. These paintings depicted young, tearful children looking straight forward at the viewer. At least 65 paintings were made under this pen name, but the reproductions of these paintings were incredibly popular. Thousands of these paintings were in homes across the UK, but Giovanni was never paid any royalties for the reproductions. There are claims that his subjects are those from a local orphanage which had burned down, and Giovanni actually died in 1981. In 1985, reports from firefighters across the UK claimed that copies of these paintings were frequently found in the ruins of burned homes. In the early fall, Dora Brand's home burned to rubble within 6 weeks when she bought the painting. The other paintings of the home did not survive, so one painting was left over. It was just the Crying Boys painting. In October 1985, the Perio Pizza Place, or Pizza Palace, was gutted by a fire, but again, the pictures remain in pristine condition. In November of 1985, Malcolm Vaughan helped destroy his neighbor's painting of the Crying Boy, and when he returned home to his living room was on fire, which firemen could not find the explanation for, or what started it. In December of 1985, a 67-year-old William Armitage died in a mysterious fire, and the Crying Boy painting was found lying intact next to his burnt body. So why 4 years from Giovanni's death did these things start happening? And why so many in a few months? And how many of these cursed paintings remain out there ready to cause havoc and burn down homes?
So is it the replicas or is it the originals or is it both?
It's the replicas. So the ones that he never got any money for, those are all the ones that were found in pristine condition after fires.
That's crazy. First, I want to know what the Crying Boy looks like too, because why would you want that in your home? I mean, my aunt is putting up a antique picture wall. It's a lot of like silly animals and random paintings that have Sasquatch in them, so it's pretty cool, but I do worry about her getting something that is either haunted or, I mean, creepy like this sounds awful.
Okay, so here is one of... So it's a series of paintings of Crying Boys. So, like, this is one of them.
I mean, they're pretty cute, sad children.
I could see this painting being cursed. I could definitely see that.
Yeah. Yeah. They're really adorable, sad children. But I can't imagine wanting to have, like, crying children in my house, especially knowing either the backstory or even if there wasn't a backstory. Like, I have a couple crying pictures from my kids over the years, but they're kind of hilarious, not just sad.
Well, this one's kind of funny. He's like, not really crying. Looks like a smug asshole.
I mean, watch out. He's going to find you. Or the replica will. Man, and how many people thought they were getting originals and got replicas?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, well, so I just looked up the story behind the Crying Boy painting, and it says that Giovanni met an orphan called Don Benillo. Benillo had been nicknamed the Devil Child, as it was said wherever he went, fires started.
Ooh. So was it Giovanni, or was it
Don,
that kid?
the Devil Child. It says, taking pity on the young boy, Giovanni took him in and painted his portrait. Sometime after the artist's house burnt down, and he threw the orphan back onto the street. Yeah. That's a tangled web. Don't know how I feel about all of that. That's a tangled web right there. He took...
there was one... unrelated to the painting, there was one story I really wanted to look into, but I couldn't get any information on this freaking thing. It was it's called The Cursed Dark Mirror, and it's a mirror that is currently I think it's in the Haunted Museum in Vegas. And apparently, if you look into it, people who looked into this mirror, they are really they're sick afterwards. They get have illnesses afterwards because they see things like them dead, their corpse dead in the mirror, or like people they've known in the past are like standing behind them. They're also dead there. Basically just like really creepy images that you don't want to see if you look into this mirror.
Yeah, see, mirrors are already so scary. Like, it just feels like it's some sort of portal. I don't know, just the thought of seeing myself and not, there's something off about that person in the mirror that is supposed to be me. Even that. Don't like that. I don't like that at all.
I think it's like a thing that you're not supposed to have a mirror in your bedroom. Or, not that. You're supposed to cover it at night. Like, you're not supposed to leave mirrors uncovered in your bedroom at night.
Okay, so my uncle definitely has a dresser with a mirror on it, and he didn't like the way the TV reflected it, so he has it covered at all times. And I don't like to say that he does things he does smart things without knowing it, but it feels like that was pretty smart. I'm weird about mirrors in general. It feels like a portal. I know you're not supposed to have mirrors facing other mirrors. So that's a big rule for me. It feels like if my mom had so many when I moved into this house, and I did that where I went around and I covered, because she just had them sitting in her room. One would be facing the other one, just sitting down on the floor, waiting to figure out what's going to go up on the wall. And I'm like, okay, this is bad news. This is such bad news. What are we doing here? Just opening up portals? What's going on? Granted, we have enough animals that I think we would know if something sinister was afoot, but let's not invite it. Let's not test the waters. Nobody's paying us $500,000 to do this. We're just storing stuff at this point because we're too scared to hang it on the wall. Don't like it.
I have a mirror over here in the corner. I think tonight I'm going to take that mirror and take it into the bathroom, and I'm going to have the mirrors face one.
Let me know how it goes. Let me know how it goes. We had some vanity mirrors that my mom had brought home from work, and a big mirror in the bathroom, and it freaked me out having the vanity mirrors in there because I was like, I don't know if this mirror can see the other mirror, because they have two sides to them. And so I would cover one side to make it so that I'm not making any portals, man. I'm not testing that. Like, I don't know what that feels like. The Ouija board, where you're just inviting something in, like something trying to get out of it. And that's also why I would never do like second-hand mirror.
See, now I kind of want to, like, for a podcast episode, like, I'll turn the lights off and I'll have two mirrors facing each other, and then I'll be in the middle with a Ouija board.
Yeah, just I'll watch from over here and like take over once your audio and everything cuts out, and I'll just be like, okay, well, it's been great, everybody. We've really enjoyed this podcast. I don't know where Holden is anymore, but he is no longer with us. If we come back next week, it's going to be a great surprise, but bye.
And then I just pop up behind you in the video, like, Rah! It's like I'm a goat person.
I mean, looking back, I see a giant skeleton over here. I'm like, he looks pretty creepy tonight.
Are his eyes on now, or are his eyes off?
No, I turned him off. I wasn't ready when I ran out here. I just like threw everything together really fast. Okay, I can hear Holden. I know that he's waiting for me. He's singing Beauty and the Beast.
I can't believe that I thought nobody was here. It was just me, all by myself, like singing the Beauty and the Beast.
Nah, and I think that I didn't even leave in that time. So my video has uploaded from that. So you get to see if we caught it.
That'll be a clip with like almost as bad as me vibing to music that you can't hear.
I mean, that's pretty great. Yeah, I just heard like tale as old as time. Like, can you hear me? You can't hear me, can you?
That's our new theme song for the podcast is me singing the Beast.
That would be great. Then remix it. Like, there's so many things that we could do off that. Throw in some goats in the background. A good little snarl every once in a while. I think it'd have to be like werewolf or like wolf-esque. Like, if that kid was seeing all of this before Beauty and the Beast, it definitely wasn't Beauty and the Beast. I think that's more sounds like a wolf.
You know, the TV show Beauty and the Beast actually looks a lot more terrifying than like actually the movie Beauty and the Beast.
Really?
I don't know if terrifying is the right word. Like, it's kind of just like weird. Like, it's pretty funny. Let's just share it real quick before we end the podcast.
Oh, my big spider's back. Don't come up on the chair. What are you doing? He's coming for me. I lost him, but he went up to the chair leg. So now I'm like, is he going to be up on the chair? If I start screaming, I'm not going to kill him. I'm trying really hard to be good to spiders because I know that they're good for us. Oh, God, that's a show? I was not
a show.
People. I was expecting it to get a tune. Hate it. Hate it. Almost as much as the spider.
Well, while Steph goes and looks for a spider, we thank you guys for listening to us ramble on me sing my beautiful voice between these two parts. And we'll be back next week with another banging episode.
Yep. Bye.